Have you seen the situation happen? You're scrolling through Twitter after a new chapter or even a season dropped, and you're seeing someone tweeting some BS about them grinding the new season and being really motivated to grind, etc. And then a couple weeks later, they just quit or something similar. I know I've seen this exact situation happen many times. Well, this is obviously the wrong mentality to have. People always love to talk about the idea of grinding and putting in heaps of work to do something, but then they fail to be mentally prepared for what it's actually going to take, and that is actually going to suck and not just be motivation the whole time. Okay, just for an example, I'm going to be using a bodybuilder. So for a bodybuilder, obviously like they're probably going to enjoy like the process as a whole to like build a great physique. But then I know like a top bodybuilder will obviously know and be mentally prepared that it's going to suck sometimes, and some days they're just not going to want to do it. But what they do now, since they're mentally prepared for that, is they know they just have to keep showing up because they were ready for that. But imagine they didn't have that mentality. Would they succeed? No, they definitely wouldn't. They would just quit as soon as they had one day that sucked. So why would it not be any different for anything else? Now think about this. To become great at anything in life, including Fortnite, you obviously need to become at least the top 0.1% or even higher. So what makes you think you can reach that top 0.1% by just playing and doing the work when it's fun to do or motivating to do? Because if it was really fun and motivating to do every single day, then everyone in the world would just be as good as the top Fortnite players are now. The days that suck, etc., and the pain that comes with it is the thing that separates the 99.9% from the 0.1%. It all just boils down to how much pain and suffering someone is willing to go through to see how much they can be separated from the rest of the people. There's basically no option to get good except to go through pain and suffering that other people weren't willing to do, obviously. Now let's think about the top pros, for example. Like, let's talk about Kami and City, for example. So as most of you probably know, they won the recent FNCS Invitationals. And before that, the game was arguably pretty dry competitively, like no one was really motivated and the game was pretty dry. But regardless of that, because they are the top 0.1%, obviously they're going to go through as much pain and bear with it more than the 99.9%. So they would have just kept playing regardless of how they felt and just kept practicing, even though it probably sucked for them sometimes and they probably didn't want to do it sometimes, but they just showed up anyway. And then after all that pain and suffering that they went through for that, regardless, then they took the opportunity and they won. And now there's a bunch of people doing that stupid like motivated thing, like saying they're motivated and grinding for comp now because they got all motivated from the event, when they literally weren't even willing to do the hard work like before when it was dry. So obviously they're going to probably most likely fail, because when it does become bad and it sucks, then they're just going to give up. So coming back to Fortnite, the advice I want to give you is to be mentally prepared and understanding that if you like are going to go for like becoming a pro at Fortnite, for example, or anything, you should be understanding and mentally aware that it's going to suck and that you're going to have to keep pushing through that. Because if you just think it's all like a fairy tale and this wonderland, it's just all fun and stuff to do it, and you'll just be motivated all the time, then as soon as it sucks a couple days in a row, then you're just gonna give up. But if you're mentally prepared for that, when it happens, then you're fine with it and you know you just need to push through. So yeah, you've probably heard this advice heaps, like discipline over motivation. Like that's obviously true, but on top of that, you really need to think about what I'm saying about being mentally prepared and ready. And yeah, if you're taking that advice, you'll be way less likely to quit and way less likely to give up. Just like those kids that repeat the same motivational cycle they do every season. Bruh.